Wolf Gaming here, and today, like I said we're having another the story time with my friend here, and he's got a scary story this time. Supposedly, if you guys watched the last one with the scary story collage with Mr. G Gamer and the whole Rake thing, he's my friend here has a similar situation where he saw the Rake or whatever. And yeah, let's hear it, man.
Okay. All right. So I was in this story. I was with my friends Luke and my cousin, or my friend Luke and my cousin Braxton, and it was about I don't know. It was somewhere between 12 and 1 o'clock. It was sometime probably in the summer of 2015. And so we were outside and we were around the back side of my house, and behind my house is this big huge patch of woods. And my entire life that I've lived here for since 2009. In that entire time, it's been just very creepy to go to those woods because every single time I'm around those woods or in those woods, I always see something or hear something. I might see growling, I might hear growling. The last couple of days, I've noticed things in the woods being moved around, big, huge talking like 100-pound trees being moved from side to side to different places. Me and my cousin Braden went out there one night, and there was trees that were literally wrapped around each other to make a little nest, and there were sticks that were sharpened and laid up around it, like looked as protection. I don't know. I don't know if it was a rake or what it was. I don't know. It was just weird. And so I've always been kind of a little bit hectic in the woods, and it was really, really, really dark, because, like I said, middle of the night. We are outside, and from the back part, you can see straight into my living room through a window, straight into my living room, straight to the front door, all that stuff, the entire living room. And me, my friend Luke, and my cousin Braxton, we were all out there, and we were just, talking, minding our own business. Well, we hear a twig snap, and didn't think much of it because I live in, like, the deep south. Okay, there's, bound to be, animals and stuff in the woods. But we heard a twig snap, and Braxton and Luke both turned around, and I looked through the window to see what my parents were watching because it sounded. I heard gunshots, and I was like, "Oh, I wonder what this is. Is this like NCIS or something?" I don't know. I just wanted to look, and I look back, and they're running around the corner, screaming and hollering and crying and stuff. And I'm thinking, "Oh, they're trying to prank me." So I look behind me, make sure nothing's there. I'm looking chill. I look through the window and I see them run in. And Luke is freaking out, like shaking. Looked like he was just having a seizure. I mean, he was freaking out. Like he had to sit down in the chair, and he was like just freaking out. His eyes were getting all watery. And Braxton went through the door and literally fell on his face and just started sobbing. I mean, he was crying and screaming and like wailing. It was horrible. And I'm like, oh my God, what did they see? And I hear this weird like it was like low pitch and high pitch at the same time. It sounded like two things making the noise, but it was one noise. It's hard. I can't explain it. It was like a deep and high hum at the same time. It was just. I mean, I couldn't mimic it. I've never heard a noise like it in my life. It literally made me feel just the worst feeling I've ever felt in my life. It was awful. And I turn around and there's this thing standing probably no more than probably 5, 10 feet in front of me, and it's hunched over. And even with it being hunched over, it's about probably anywhere from like 6'5" to 6'8". I mean, this thing's huge, and it's hunched over almost, but it's still on its back legs, and it looked like a person, but it was uneven. And its skin was white and gray and like really leathery. I could tell from the texture. Because I saw it, through the light of the house. It's right there, and its body was just really uneven. Like one arm was like half a foot longer than the other. I mean, it was weird. I'm getting scared talking about this. It it wasn't wearing any clothes, but it wasn't naked. I can't explain that either. It was just weird. If y'all search up the Rake, you can see a picture of it. It looked a lot like that, but it was just a little bit darker because of how dim it was in the picture. And its eyes, it looked like it'd been hollowed out. Like it just had holes, and it wasn't just a black hole. I mean, it's almost like I could look into it. Like it just looked like it went on and on forever. The darkness in its eyes, and its nose didn't. He didn't have a nose. It just was flat. And I mean, it was kind of like a little bump towards the bottom. It was weird, and like its mouth was just God, I can't explain. It looked a lot like the eyes, but it was just. I mean, you just look at it and it goes on and on and on forever, and it was just crazy. And I sit there and stare at it for probably 20 or 30 seconds, and it breathed really, really, really heavily. And when it let go of its air, I mean, it just, oh God, it made just a noise, and I ran as fast as I could around the side of the house. And as I went around the corner, I turned around, and it was completely gone. And I go around the corner, and I see something run, like, under my parents' car, which was on the opposite side of the building. So somehow, it went from the back side to the middle of the front side and slid under a car. Like, I can't explain it. It like hunkered down on all fours and ran on all fours and went under the car before I could even get around the corner. And it just, I mean, it was just insane about how fast it was. Like, I don't know if it jumped over the building maybe or if it went around. But when I ran inside, Luke was, I mean, he couldn't breathe. We had to grab an emergency inhaler, like, no, inhaler. One of those things we gotta, like, just, oh, I can't even. It was just, it was insane. And he was hyperventilating, and Braxton, he was just crying, and he was just screaming, and they both went home, and yeah.
So basically, your friends, Brandon and Luke, Roxanne. I mean, th- so it just took one look at this thing. Like you looked at it and you were just kind of creeped out, like really creeped out. But these guys were like crying and like wanting to go
No, I mean,
home.
I couldn't move. Like, I couldn't move when I was looking at it, and then I went inside, and then
Wait,
I
you
just
were
couldn't,
outside when you saw this thing.
yeah.
Oh,
It
I
was
thought
about
you were
5 or 10 feet in
inside,
front
like
of me.
looking through the window,
No, it was 5 or 10 feet in front of me.
and you were
Then as I
outside.
ran around the corner of the house, yeah, and as I ran around the corner of the house.
Oh my god! Like I can understand, like if you saw it and it was like outside the house and you're looking through the living room window or whatever, but you like actually being in front of it, like no barriers, I'd Jesus Christ.
Like, I couldn't move. Like, I was screaming and crying and yelling and trying to move. Like, I felt like I was
So
running,
okay,
but I
okay,
was just not
so
moving.
basically, like there's things that creepy make you like stiff, but like this thing, like it just made you cry from looking at it.
I mean, like, I don't know. I can't explain it. Like, I wasn't crying, but I felt like I was. I wasn't
Yeah, but
running, but I
you said
felt like
like
I
Luke
was.
or somebody was crying, right? Like,
Yeah, Braxton was crying, and then Luke just couldn't breathe.
yeah, but I wonder what causes you to cry just from the sight of this thing.
Just from the sheer fear of knowing that it was out there, I guess.
Dude,
Because, I mean,
like,
I'd never seen anything like it. I mean, it still to this day, I mean, I have had, you can ask my parents, man. I have had a phobia of windows. I have my
wait. You've had a.
windows
Why do you have a
pretty big.
phobia of windows?
Because, like, not a phobia of windows, but I'm afraid of looking out the windows because I'm afraid it's going to be out there. Because I've also seen it, like, just glimpses and stuff on my windows. Like, I have a counter in front of one window and a blanket over the other. Okay, because that's how freaking horrifying this thing
So like
was.
one time you heard somebody turn around and you see like its legs step out of the way.
What? Oh, yeah, 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 yeah. Just see its, like, feet just quickly move.
Wait, really?
Yeah. And I've had other people that have came over to my house and said, dude, I don't want to freak you out or anything, and I don't want you to think I'm lying, but there's something, like, it looks like a human, but it's gray, and it's running around the woods. I saw it up there and attacked, like, for instance, my friend Jacob, he said it attacked an animal, and he saw it, like, out my window, because you can see a straight shot
And he saw
to
this
my,
thing out
I can't
its
remember what the couch
window,
was.
just attacking an animal.
Yeah, from like very far distance, so he wasn't as freaked out. And at first he thought it was a wolf, and then he just kept looking. He could tell that it was something, and it's just he couldn't explain it. And he was freaked out. He went home as well, but he lives like probably 10, 11 houses down, so he was still pretty scared. And then my friend James, James, he's a big guy. He's about 6'3". He's like probably 250, 280, I think. And he um he wears a size like 15 shoe, okay? Me and him went out there and we saw this footprint. It looked like a human footprint, but it was laid out different. And I can't explain how it was laid out. Like, you know how you'll see like the little the little foot muscles, like you'll see if someone puts their bare feet in like snow or something.
Yeah.
It instead of them going across, it was diagonal, and it was just the weirdest thing we ever saw.
What?
And James was wore a size 15 shoe, and he put his shoe down in the step hole, and that footprint was twice the size of his size 15 shoe in
Damn.
length and in width. It was huge. It was just completely massive. And
Well,
I
hold on. I want to go back on Mr. G Gamer's story of how he said if it sees you or you see it as a kid and it doesn't kill you, it's your guardian angel. And whatever he said, it follows you around or something. So it's probably what you're seeing. It's probably trying to protect you from evil forces, and you're turning around and you're just seeing this thing, and you're probably thinking you're scared as all living hell. I would too. I'd probably kill myself if I had this thing following me the rest of my life.
well, I better not have it follow me because I always see it. I'll always look out my window. I mean, last night I looked out my window and saw something run past. And at this point, I just
Like,
don't take
like
note of it. It's
right
just,
against the window seal, it's just a gray blur, just
yep,
like right into the window. Oh my god.
yep, like it slid against the window. I heard it.
And guys, it's funny. I was telling him about Mr. G Gamer's story last
I'm gonna
night
go
about
turn on
the
my light, fam. I'll be right back.
yeah, I was telling him about Mr. G Gamer's story about the rake, and it's ironic that right after we're done talking about it, just that happens. Like, bruh, that is something that I can't even imagine, dude.
I'll come
I,
back.
you know, I can imagine personal experiences in seeing this thing, but the fact that several people had seen this, is kind of weird, from what I have heard. Um, yeah, but that was pretty cool, man. You got any other info about this thing that you want to share?
What?
You got any more info about the story or about this thing you saw you want to share?
Um, do we have enough time for me to give a little side story
Oh yeah, yeah. Go ahead, man.
that's about it?
That's about
Okay,
it.
I don't know if it was necessarily the rake what I saw. It had a lot of the same tendencies, and a lot of the same, attributes to it, but I'm not for sure. But anyway, I don't know if this was the rake or not either, but I'm gonna tell you something that me and my friend Jacob saw. We were up at my Aunt Doris's house. My Aunt Doris lived there all of her life. She died when she was like 98, and she died inside the house. And me and Jacob were up at that house because
Oh,
it was
I've
late.
heard
It
this
was
story.
what?
I've heard this story.
Yeah. It was late, but not crazy late. Like the sun was just starting to set, and it's in the middle of the woods, okay? And I can see it from my window. I wish I could. I wish you could put pictures of everything. I wish you could take pictures and you could put it inside the video. But yeah, I can see it straight across, and basically, we were up there, and you can look through a window and you can see this door. And the door leads from like a little lobby area because in her house you walk through this door and you're inside this little unair conditioned area with tools and stuff, and you keep walking just a few more feet and there's this little coat, and you take out the key from inside the coat, and that's the key to unlock the door. And that's just how our house worked. And so you can look through a window and it's inside our house of I can't explain it. It's like when the door's shut, you're seeing it from a side view. Like you can see the handle and everything from a side view. When it's open, you see that it's open. You can look in and everything. And it's always shut. It's always shut. Ain't nobody been in the house for years. It's always shut. Okay. And me and him were up there, and we looked through the window, and the door was open. And we thought, oh, okay, well, someone's in there. It's probably my Uncle Vic or something. Well, I go around, and the cinder blocks are still piled up to the door because sometimes the door slides away, so or it's like opens up on its own. So we have cinder blocks there, and not a person could not get inside the building and place the cinder blocks back up against the door as firm as they were. You know what I'm saying? So it was just we were like, oh, maybe there's two people. Maybe it's my Uncle Vic and my Aunt Jan. Well, we look around. There's no cars. He calls my Nana, and my Nana says, "Has nobody been up anywhere near the house for years?" So about that time, we hear something just slam. Like it sounds like when you drop one of them big history books, like on the floor at a school or something. It sounded like just like a big slam, and it echoed, and birds flew everywhere. And we went over, and the door was shut. And this was after the one thing, and I was like, oh my God, what if it's that thing I saw in the woods? He was like, yeah, isn't that called the rake? And this is when I was just figuring out what the rake was. He was like, yeah, that could be it. And we're a little bit spooked, but then we hear something in the woods, and I'm one of those people that if I hear something, I don't like run the other direction. I'm an idiot, so I go and see what it is because I wanna understand what that is. So me and him are walking through the woods, and we hear a noise, and it sounds like a gunshot. It's just a gunshot. I mean, people be shooting stuff all the time where I live. And then we start hearing it over and over and over again, like something pounding. We hear, I mean, like a frame door just like slinging against, just over and over and over and over and over and over and over again. And it was just blood curdling. It was just horrifying for some reason. I don't know. And so we ran as fast as we could over to the house because that was our first thought. And we look, and the door just slides like you could tell it was moving, and then the second we looked at it, it went from moving back and forth, just bam, 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 to just slowly, just like really slow, then open up slowly, then open, and we're thinking, what? Maybe it's like wind. I don't know how wind got it. So we're like, what is moving it? Is there something invisible there? And out of the rake is not invisible, so I don't know what it was at the time. And then we see this dark gray blur run past us in the reflection of the window. Like it was behind us. We turn around, and I mean, like it was crazy. We turn around, and there's nothing there, and we hear the door slam again. We turn around, nothing's there. He looks in the window and he says, oh my God. And I'm like, what? He's like, look right there. And he puts his finger on the window, and that thing that was talking about, and I can't say for sure if it was that. That's what he said it was. He said it looked just like I described it. I just caught a quick glimpse of it, so I couldn't be 100%. I only give you all false information. But we saw it like up on a hill behind us, like right beside a tree, and it just moved. And it moved. No, it didn't move. Like it climbed up the tree. Like it literally just went around behind the tree and climbed up. And I saw like little bits of its arms, like its elbows, as it climbed up from the backside, and we saw birds fly out at the top, and we're thinking, oh yeah, we probably need a fungi eye. So we literally just both of us just gone, run. Okay, now at the time I was about 6 foot tall, and my friend at the time was about 6'4", and he could be more than likely, since he's taller, he could run faster. Fam, I was at my house before he even got halfway across the field because we were a good probably half mile away from my house, and we did not stop. We ran for probably half a mile, like we were gone. Well, I don't know if it's happened though. I don't know. I can see it from my house, but it's very, very flat where I live. There's only a few hills here and there. But yeah, that's my little side story.
All right, well, that was something. Guys, hope you guys enjoyed. The next one we'll be doing will be with all three of us, I believe. It'll be, what is it, Josh? You, me, and Mr. G Gamer. We're
Mm,
gonna be talking about bizarre, messed up dreams/nightmares that just,
Jesus.
yeah. So, yeah, hope you guys looking forward to that. I know I am, because I got some really freaked out stories to tell you guys. Anyway, guys, comment if you want to hear some more stories from my friend Ping one over here, because I'll tell you what, he has got at least stories way crazier than this, and I'm talking several. So, hope you
I
guys
don't know what you
enjoyed.
just said, so if you were talking to me, I'm sorry.
Oh, anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed, and I'll see you guys in the next video.